Yellowstone is one of the most popular national parks in the United States, coming in second just behind the Great Smoky Mountains. When you think of Yellowstone National Park, a few things might come to mind. Incredible scenery, the famous geyser that erupts several times a day, or the giant supervolcano that lurks beneath the park. One thing that might not come to mind though is mysterious humanoids. Yet people who have visited the national park have come forward with their sightings and encounters, saying that they're certain that what they saw was a creature that resembles a human, was covered in fur and that stood between 7 and 9 feet tall. This creature closely matches that of a Bigfoot, and many people across the United States have said this creature is definitely genuine, but notes that it tends to stay out of the way of humans. One of the problems with these types of reports is being able to back them up with evidence. Most people can't, as the majority of these encounters are rushed, leaving the individuals questioning what it was they just encountered. One person though was able to capture proof of an alleged Bigfoot inside Yellowstone National Park. Mr. Wilson said the following about the image. "I'm an avid watcher of the Yellowstone National Park live cams. I've been fortunate enough to be able to visit these incredible locations many times over my life, and it's always been one of those places where I feel happiest. It's one of the most scenic and beautiful national parks we have, but due to my age and a few other problems I'm not able to visit as much. In fact, I haven't been here in a while. Something I often do is watch the live cameras that are set up around the park, although I've never seen anything like this before. While watching the cam, I noticed this large-looking human off into the distance. Now bear in mind this image has been zoomed in quite a lot, and there was no one else out there in that region. This thing is tall and it's the main reason I was able to spot it. In other parts of the national park I could see people off into the distance, and they looked tiny. This thing really stood out because of how tall it looked against the trees. I know that there have been reports of Bigfoot in and around Yellowstone National Park, and although I've always stayed pretty neutral on the topic, I have a close friend that's told me stories of when he camped in Yellowstone National Park and encountered something he couldn't explain. He is insistent that what he encountered while camping was that of a Bigfoot, and definitely wasn't something like a bison. I'm interested to hear what you think of this, so I've attached the photograph below. Again, I'm not claiming that this is a Bigfoot, but I can't see how it was a human. It stood out so much, and like I said, this creature is really tall against the nearby trees. I watch the live cams a lot, and this is the first time that I've seen a humanoid as large and as wide as this. I'd like to think that I know the difference between a standard human and whatever this is." End quote. This is one of the few times that a photograph of Bigfoot in Yellowstone has been captured within the national park. As mentioned earlier, although there's various stories floating around about people's encounters with this creature, very few have been able to photograph what they saw. Bigfoot researchers have said that for years now people visiting the national park have been seeing large hairy creatures, and state that most of these encounters happen during the nighttime with campers. When skeptics have seen these types of images though, they've said it's important to keep an open mind, and say that there's a lot of wildlife within Yellowstone National Park, and have said that people could just be misidentifying everyday creatures as Bigfoot. Although this is true, and that it's important to conduct as much research as possible when looking into these sightings, there's only a certain number of things that can be put forward in order to explain what's being seen. Eyewitnesses who claim that they've seen Bigfoot within Yellowstone say that you can't mix up this creature with that of local wildlife, going on to say that there's no humanoid creature within this region, and certainly not one that's able to reach these kinds of heights. The Sasquatch creature seems to stand somewhere between 8 and 10 feet tall. The creature is believed to have a total arm length of 120% the height of its body, similar to that of an ape-like creature with elongated forearms. Unlike an ape, however, the creature is believed to be bipedal. The bipedal nature of the creature most likely points to the theory of a working voice box, as the head would need to be in a position that allows for bipedal movement. Further evidence shows that the Sasquatch has a massive big toe to help with balancing issues, as it's nearly 3 times in volume in comparison to its size when adjusted for human scale. The Sasquatch is also seemingly covered in hair all over its body. For hundreds of years, mysterious reports have been made about large humanoids. Individuals have come forward with their encounters, and in some cases they even managed to photograph what they saw. However, even though they're seen by thousands of people yearly, scientists have said there's no such creatures, and what people are seeing is mundane things like everyday wildlife. Sightings of this beast have persisted for eons, since the time of the Aborigines and their ancient mythological folklore. What is all the more startling about these claims is that even in the modern day, people are still encountering these creatures. All across the globe there's been reports of them, from Tibet, America and even Australia. Although this is the case, people are still torn about what these creatures are, and whether there is any substance to these sightings. For years now, people have speculated about what's beyond our planet. Many believe that we share our universe with other life forms, while others have said that as of right now we are alone, as no telescope or advanced civilizations have made contact. Believers though have said that photographs taken by NASA and other space agencies show interesting anomalies in our solar system, and although it's important to apply a level of skepticism towards these images, they do create an interesting discussion around the topic of whether we're alone in the universe. Something interesting was just captured by NASA officials, with them saying that a large object has made contact with the sun, causing a large explosion to happen. The images were captured by the LASCO C2 satellite, and when the images were released, people were questioning what could have caused the large eruption, saying that it doesn't look like a normal solar flare. LASCO images help NASA and other space agencies to log solar and transit events. It's announcements like these that have led some amateur researchers to look closer at our sun, with some of them saying that every year strange objects can be seen in and around the sun. Some of these photographs match typical descriptions of mysterious flying crafts, and although NASA has quickly shut down these statements and said that they don't exist, and that what people are seeing is likely space debris, other scientists have been a little more open-minded, saying that advanced civilizations may even be travelling across the Milky Way, and harnessing power from things like the sun and even black holes. One recent article was published in January of this year, in which scientists said that aliens could be sucking out energy from black holes. Alien civilizations have long fascinated scientists as well as the general public, and now it's theorized that advanced civilizations could be traveling to black holes and harvesting their energy. The researchers even said that this could explain why they detect flares and disruptions close to these celestial entities. The study was published in the Physical Review. As of right now, this is just a theory, but the scientists said that black holes can be found throughout the Milky Way galaxy, and that if we had a better way to observe them, then we might be able to detect advanced civilizations using them as a source of power. Astrophysicist Luca Cosimo was behind the study, and said that we need to figure out what extracting energy from a black hole looks like, and that once we figure out a way to do this, we could observe and detect distant advanced civilizations. He said the following: "We've only done the physics in this paper, but I'm now working with a colleague of mine to apply this to reality, to look for civilizations, to try and see what kind of signal you would need to look for." End quote. Although mysterious flying crafts that are allegedly seen near the sun don't win over hardcore scientists, the theory of advanced civilizations travelling to the sun to use it for energy does hold up. In fact, our sun is so powerful that scientists have said that the amount of sun that hits the Earth's surface in just 1 hour is enough to handle the world's energy consumption for 1 year. This has caused some to say that we need to be using our sun more, and that our current methods are outdated. We can convert sunlight into electrical energy, and we currently have the technology to store this in things like storages and batteries. So although it may sound outlandish that advanced civilizations would travel to the sun to gather energy, the theory does make sense. Teams of MIT researchers have said that they are currently working on ways of capturing and storing the sun's heat, and this is for the sole purpose of it being able to generate electricity when needed. Energy MIT said the following on their website: "The new system is simple, durable and inexpensive. Mirrors mounted on a hillside reflect sunlight directly into large tanks of molten salt, which absorbs the heat throughout its depth. The system can handle the intense power of the midday sun, as well as temperature changes throughout the day and night, without structural failure or interruptions in power production. Modeling studies and lab-scale experiments confirm the viability of the concept, and the availability of extensive hilly areas suitable for installations." End quote. As mentioned, although scientists and space agencies have said that we've never detected aliens or an advanced civilization, there's some who theorize that aliens are harvesting energy from the sun, and these come in the form of strange crafts that can be seen hovering around the sun for several hours before they fly off. Amateur researchers have said this is a good test to see what's going on around our sun, and have said that NASA should be investigating what these strange objects are. For decades now, these strange-looking crafts have been detected by solar observatories around the sun, and due to NASA's replies, it's only caused some to become more curious. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration has said that they've investigated these objects, and that every time they turn out to be things like space debris, solar flares or debris caught in the equipment, which ends up giving off the illusion that something is there when it isn't. Regardless, some still hold on to the idea that these objects are in fact advanced crafts that are travelling to our sun, and suggested that they're doing the exact same thing we are, and that's using our sun for its energy. NASA did say the following on their website: "Astronomers have found countless planets orbiting other stars. Some may have conditions suitable for life as we know it, and on some of these worlds, life may have evolved to the point where it produces technological civilizations. Since planets around other stars are so far away, scientists cannot look for signs of life or civilizations by sending a spacecraft to these distant worlds. Instead, they must use powerful telescopes to see what's inside the atmospheres of exoplanets. A possible indication of life, or biosignatures, could be a combination of gases like oxygen and methane in the atmosphere." End quote. Time will tell whether we find anything of interest. Photographs have been taken in India, showing what appears to be a mysterious entity walking the streets. The photos were even covered by the news, with them describing it as a large humanoid with long limbs, having a greyish and yellowish body that reflected light, a large head with 2 black eyes, and walking in a mysterious manner. Once the photographs were released, various theories were put forward by locals and those who saw the broadcast. Residents said that the humanoid could be seen walking down a road and walking across a bridge in Jharkhand, which is located in eastern India. The photographs started to emerge on the 28th of May, with residents saying that it could be seen near the newly constructed bridge, but said that they couldn't identify what it was, or what it was doing there. Bikers in the region said they stopped to get a better look at it, saying that it stood out due to its skin that reflected their lights. When the photographs were posted to social media, people couldn't seem to agree on what they had captured, with some saying that it looks like an extraterrestrial, while others said it looks like the mythical skinwalker, a creature that's said to have the ability to take on the form of other creatures and disguise themselves, or some suggested it was just a resident in the region. although some pointed out if this was the case the locals wouldn't have acted the way they did. Others close to the region said there's been reports of witches throughout the area, and claim that this mysterious being may have been a churel. This creature is well known throughout India, Bangladesh and Pakistan, and it's been described as an entity that you wouldn't want to run into. The churel is described as the ghost of an impurified living thing. It is also known as the tree spirit, as it tends to latch onto trees in the jungles of Asia. She allegedly takes on the form of a beautiful woman, luring men she wants revenge on into the woods, only to take their life, or cause them to disappear never to be seen again. Churels are thought to come from women who've experienced an unnatural loss of life. This is often during pregnancy or childbirth, or as suffering at the hands of her in-laws. Often churels will haunt the men of a certain family, as the spirit of a mistreated woman related to them. Once appearing to men, again often in a jungle, the mountains or other remote places, she removes her cloak of beauty to reveal a monstrous creature. The true form of the churel is a woman with a horrid appearance. Depending on the country from which the legend originates, churels can have black tongues, no mouth at all, a face that resembles a pig, claw-like hands and fangs. Others suggested that the unknown entity may have been an extraterrestrial, saying that above the creature were strange red lights that were seen flying around the area, with locals saying that it seemed that the two were attached to each other. These mysterious lights worried the locals as they said that the being suddenly appeared out of nowhere. Those who lived close to the bridge suggested that something bad may have happened there, and this is the reason why the entity was seen walking close to it. One idea that was put forward was that the humanoid in question may have been linked to the paranormal. Authorities in Jharkhand have told people to relax, and said that they're carrying out their own investigations into what happened, saying that they're currently talking to eyewitnesses who saw the individual, and that they hope to get to the bottom of what was seen. As of right now though, we have no answers. We only have eyewitness testimonies. Some eyewitnesses took to social media to voice their opinions. One person said the following: "I don't think we're seeing anything strange here. To me this just looks like someone with bad nutrition, something that is commonly seen here in India. It's giving off the illusion that it's something else, when I think that all we're seeing is a human that's skinny." End quote. Another person went down the route of suggesting it was linked to the mysterious lights. They had this to say: "Why were the mysterious lights seen in the sky just moments before this entity turned up? I think that's strange, and I think it proves that something is going on here. It's likely that we won't be told the truth about what was just seen." End quote. One of the most interesting legends to surface from the country of India, and that led to a full-on investigation from police that spanned for several months, was that of the mysterious shape-shifting wolves. Back in 1983, there were reported cases of people from India that suddenly went missing. Police later uncovered that the individuals were taken by reported sightings of mysterious wolves. This didn't make sense at first, as there appeared to be no evidence that large wolves were taking these people, as well as the fact that one father reported a wolf standing up and throwing rocks at him as he tried to run after his family member. These strange reports led many locals to believe that perhaps strange supernatural worshippers were living in the region of the sightings, and that they were ultimately behind the mysterious happenings. Sadly, no concrete evidence was ever uncovered that would help authorities answer what happened, and it's due to these stories that some have said that the same will happen again. There's also various areas spread across India that talk of mysterious entities, with locals saying that during the night in certain areas, no one dares to venture outside, saying that those who have often gone missing and are never seen from again. It's one of the reasons why locals will keep their distance if they see something like this. As mentioned though, as of right now authorities are investigating the matter, and have said that once they have an answer for what was seen, they will update the general public. The Hayubashi forest has been a hotbed of mysterious reports, with the locals saying that stories have been shared for as long as they can remember. It's believed that the legends of the area can be traced back generations, since settlements first arose near the area and discovered the anonymous terror-inducing forest. Claims of vampire entities roaming through the trees, unexplainable lights in the sky that can hover and dance around, demonstrating a peculiar form of intelligence, mysterious sounds of disembodied screams and laughs escaping from the underbush, and countless other claims that have been made over the years, spawning endless legends and reports of mysterious activity that is impossible to explain. Even more odd, however, is the clearing that many of the local residents claim should be avoided. According to local residents, located near the centre of the forest is a circular area that opens up into a large clearing, where no vegetation seems to grow. Although skeptics will often dismiss the story, as aerial photos of the region show that there's no such clearing anywhere throughout the Hayubashi forest, local residents claim that the circular clearing is not visible from the sky, and only becomes visible when a hiker has entered deep into the forest. The clearing is believed to be of supernatural origin, and acts as a portal that leads travellers or other hikers to another dimension, which is often offered as an explanation by the locals as to why it appears to be hidden, and becomes visible when entered by foot. Unfortunately, those who enter the clearing are believed to never return, and become lost in a world completely different to our own. Although a clearing as described by the townsfolk has never been discovered, tourists who happen to hike through the area claim to report sudden feelings of intense anxiety and nausea that progressively gets worse as they travel closer towards the centre of the forest. This forbidding sense of artificial terror and sudden illness manifests in nearly all of those who visit the forest, including tourists who are unaware of the legends and myths surrounding the region. Some hikers have claimed to have spotted mysterious lights hovering over the top of the forest, believing that to possibly be extraterrestrial or supernatural in nature. Extraterrestrial researchers believe that such sightings of unidentified flying objects and the sudden onset of anxiety attacks are evidence of an extraterrestrial origin, as countless witness reports all across the world claim that encounters with extraterrestrial crafts can cause sudden fits of paranoia and panic attacks to manifest from seemingly nowhere. Many often report that when a craft is nearby, whether they are aware of it or not, they will suddenly feel a terrible anxiety and panic overcome them, similar to that experienced in the forest of Hayubashi. One such legend is credited with providing the forest with its name. According to the forest history, a local shepherd by the name of Hayubashi was travelling near the forest alongside 200 sheep, his entire flock of livestock, when he suddenly disappeared along with his 200 sheep. It was originally believed that the shepherd was attacked by a passing thief, who dragged the body of the shepherd deep into the woods and stole the livestock for himself, despite the fact that none of the townsfolk saw a trace of the sheep anywhere in the region, with tracks that disappeared into the forest never to be seen again. Similar stories of mass disappearances of sheep were also reported during the 1600s, across London and nearby shires. Another strange report surrounding the Hayubashi forest was made in 1968, when Emil Bernier, a military technician, photographed an image of a massive flying saucer hovering over the tree line of the forest. Bernier claimed to have seen the craft hovering for a period of time before snapping a photo and sending it to the local news agency to be published. However, following his sighting, Emil Bernier was ridiculed and made the victim of a smear campaign that tried to discredit him as a military technician and ruin his career as a response to his claim of encountering the unidentified flying object. Although many skeptics today continue to doubt the authenticity of the event, another researcher by the name of Alexandru Sivd would also take several images of unidentified flying objects hovering over the forest through the 1960s, with many of the photos predating Emel's encounter in 1968. Using the gathered images, Romanian ufologist Ion Habana, joint author to UFOs Behind the Iron Curtain, conducted his own investigation into the matter and found a number of interesting facts related to the case. After meeting Emel Bania twice, once in 1968, immediately after his publication of the images, and then again in 1970 when doing a follow-up investigation, Ion Habana claimed that Emil knew nothing about flying saucers, unidentified flying objects, extraterrestrial encounters or alien reports, showing no interest whatsoever in the topic. Ion Habana believed that Mr. Emil Bania merely reported the UFO to the local news under the belief that the craft was possibly invasive or clandestine in its construction, and not that it had any relation whatsoever to extraterrestrials. Though many skeptics continue to believe that Emil was merely hoaxing the event, it's important to note that books on ufology or similar topics were not made available for sale or printing in Romania during the 1960s. Ion Habana also noted that the hoax explanation was completely outlandish, stating that at the time in Romania, there was no possibility of selling documents of any kind to local news agencies, and their publication implied no financial benefit to the author, so it would have been impossible for the photographer to hoax the images for financial profit. Ion Habana would later reach out to photographic analysis Belgian G. Delcorps to conduct an independent investigation on the image, saying the following: "The analysis of Belgian G. Delcorps is in this respect extremely interesting and instructive, not only by its conclusions, but also by the seriousness and the precision which characterizes it. Unfortunately, Delcorps examined only the first two photographs. He noticed that in picture number 2, the UFO could not be at 85 degrees above the horizon, as stated by Bania, but at around 30 degrees only. In the number 1 photograph, it's 20 degrees above the horizon, and the calculable diameter is 22.3 meters, which was obtained by calculations and comparisons with the trees and the solid masses. It left the assumption that the machine on photograph number 2 was within 600 meters of the photographer. It's obviously possible since other calculations gave a value ranging between 300 and 480 meters for the altitude." End quote. So what do you make of these mysterious stories? Be sure to leave your questions and answers in the comment section below, and help us to grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.